Hey YouTube, welcome back to Tinker with Tools. Tonight we are going to be covering what some are saying is the most powerful hammer drill out on the market. We're going to figure that out tonight, but we are going to get into the Flex hammer drill. We've had it for a while, we've been using it behind the scenes, and now it's time to see if it's going to stand up and be the one that tops the charts. Can it dethrone Metabo HPT, which currently has a less than 1 second lead over Milwaukee, one feature with that high output battery. So let's get into that today on Tinker with Tools. Flex burst onto the scene over a year ago, and since then, you've had people on both sides of the fence, those that hate it and think their marketing is nothing but gimmicks, and then you've got those that have tried it that actually can see that it does have some power. Now when it comes down to it, this drill has got a couple of oddities to it that we're going to go through and get into, and we'll cover those right now. So first off, this is a 2-speed drill, but calling it a 2-speed drill is kind of cheating because it also has turbo mode. When activated, as you can see, now we've got that green light. Turbo mode actually gives it a few extra 100 RPMs that are going to give this almost like another speed. And turbo mode does work whether you are in speed 1 or in speed 2. So it actually almost gives it 4 different speed ranges that you can get into. So without turbo mode activated, this is going to have 550 RPMs in speed 1, 2000 RPMs in speed 2. That is actually almost spot on with a lot of the other drills. Actually coming in about 100 lower than the Metabo HPT, but right on with Milwaukee and even some of what DeWalt has to offer. Now the difference being with turbo mode, it actually goes up to 700 RPMs in speed 1 and 2500 RPMs in speed 2. By far making it one of the fastest drills out there, especially if all you're doing is shopping at either Lowe's or Home Depot. You're not going to find something this fast out there. So with that, we're going to see, does turbo mode give it a leg up on the competition? Does it make it so it goes through some of those lower end tasks a little? And can it still stay in turbo mode when it starts to get into the really high and demanding task? That's what we're going to get in today. So we're going to go ahead and get the specs out of the way, and then we're going to start doing our same 10 tests so we can see how this stacks up and if it's enough to take it and put it over the edge, or is it going to be something where we're left wanting and wishing that it had just a little bit more? Let's get into it. We are going to be in turbo mode, speed 2, in drill mode. This is a fully charged 5 amp hour Flex lithium battery. It is not their stacked lithium. I don't have that yet, but we are going to go ahead and give this a try and see how it does. So first we're going to be driving in the 5-inch T30 SPACs in 3, 2, 1. You can definitely feel some extra speed there. The 2500 RPMs that it's got in speed 2 with turbo mode engaged are pretty fast. Now moving on to the 6-inch SPACs in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so I think that's where we're going to start feeling it get faster. It just doesn't seem to have as much fade, I guess you could say, as some of the other drills. On the impact driver, there's quite a bit of unbalance there, but with the slightly larger tool here, it actually does feel pretty good when we're talking about this tool. All right, so now going to the 5-inch power lag in 3, 2, 1. It actually kind of stuttered there for a second. I think it still put up a pretty nice time. I don't think that's going to hurt it really at all. So now we do 2 timber locks. The first one is going to be the 6-inch and then the 8-inch in 3, 2, 1. Plenty powerful. It really is driving them in well. Now going with the 8-inch power lag in 3, 2, 1. I don't know if the audio is going to pick it up. I hope it does, because and it almost seems to change the way it's driving as it goes in. The end result, I don't know right off the top of my head if it's going to be faster than those other tools. It's doing it with very little drama, which I think is a good testament. All right, so we're going to be doing a Bosch Daredevil bit. We're still in speed 2. I've just put turbo mode back on. Sometimes it goes off after a minute. All right, in 3, 2, 1. That was very quick. Okay, moving into the 1-inch spider auger bit in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so now we switched over to the 1 1/4 inch spider spade bit, and now we are going to be going through a 4x4. This is, in our past test, this is the test that has started to separate tools that either have less power or tools that have cutouts at a much lower level. That's where we start to see some cutouts where we have to kick down to speed 1. In 3, 2, 1. One and a half inch in speed 2 in turbo mode in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now we're going to go to the 1 3/4 Irwin speed bore. So the Irwin speed bore in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we did get a cutout. I am just going to turn turbo mode off and try and continue the hole. It made it fairly far. I've only got space to do one more hole, and so if I don't make it through, we risk having an incomplete here. Do I drop it to speed 1 and put turbo mode on and see if the 700 RPMs will get through it and how fast it will do it? Or do I just try it with no turbo mode engaged in speed 2? See if a slightly lower RPMs help pull it through a little more. We are going to give it one more time in 3, 2, 1. Not even being able to do the times, I obviously know that this is not going to be able to take the top spot. All right, Future Taylor here. After we show you these results, go ahead and stick around to the end, because it's not the end of the story. We do have a little extra that we're going to tack on to the end here to show you some more information with a different result that we got later in the night. So stick around, we got more information. All right, so as we get to conclusion time, you'll have just seen the times, and I'm just kind of guessing at this point where it's going to stand. On the driving test, I think it did wonderful. I think it actually did a good job at sticking with the other tools, and I think it probably fared pretty well in the driving test. And even in that first 1-inch spade bit, it actually felt really good. When it came to the bigger bits, especially when we got into the 4x4, that's where I felt like we started to get a little bit of slowing as we were going through. We tested the Metabo HPT, I think it's been about 2 or 3 weeks now. And then earlier this week, I retested the Milwaukee Fuel with the 6 amp hour high output battery, and that came within a second of the Metabo HPT's time. Having not seen these times, I have very little confidence that this is actually going to be near those two tools. Do I think it's going to finish ahead of the older DeWalt? Yes. I think it's going to finish ahead of the DeWalts. I think it'll actually even potentially finish ahead of the Makita, but it is not going to be taking the top spot. Now, as we get talking about new tools, that's where something like the Flex is a little bit confusing to me. Is it going to run best in turbo mode? Is turbo mode just for other applications like cement drilling? Am I better off running it lower? That's something that you're going to have to take time to get used to and take time to get to know about this tool. What is going to run the best combination? With other tools, it's pretty easy. Run it in speed 2 unless you run into something that it won't go through, and then drop down into speed 1. Or if you know something's going to be too much for it, you automatically drop it down into speed 1. But not knowing which one is going to be the best setup with essentially 4 different combinations here, it does leave a little bit of guesswork, which I'm not sure is going to inspire confidence always. I've also noticed that sometimes turbo mode turns off, sometimes it stays on, and I don't know what triggers that, if it's time or if it's something else. And so there's just some newness to this hammer drill that makes it so it's not as confidence inspiring as the others. And so it's very clear that what their target was when they were designing Flex. I mentioned that in the impact driver video, that they were going after Milwaukee and to some degree DeWalt as well, with their hammer drill and how they were designing it. And they've done a good job. Now, did they succeed in making it more powerful? In these tests, with a high output battery, it beat it. With the standard 5 amp hour, my guess is the Flex is going to have a faster time there. And so we'll have to see which one is going to take the cake when it comes to doing it. Now, obviously, this should perform differently with that stacked lithium, and I think that's where you could expect to see the kind of power bump, hopefully, that you saw with the high output battery over here. Now, with this, there's obviously an elephant in the room, and that is that we just found out that this is getting replaced in August with a smaller, more powerful drill. So now all of a sudden, your Flex, which was targeted right squarely at this, with batteries that are targeted at beating it, is now going to have to compete with something newer and perceivably better than what we had. Now, how much of an improvement it's going to be, we're going to have to wait and see. But obviously, that is going to be interesting to see how a new hammer drill is going to stack up and how, if it's going to be able to put some distance between it. And so then obviously that puts the ball back in Flex's court to try and kind of bounce back and come out with something that's going to beat this again. I would imagine that round 2 from Flex is going to be an improvement because they're going to have now public feedback in addition to just trying to benchmark it against a tool. Alright, so thanks for watching this video. If you like what you saw, go ahead and leave a comment down below and hit that like button. And then if you want to, go ahead and hit subscribe so you can keep seeing when I've got new content coming out. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this has been Tinker with Tools. Okay, I didn't want to leave it where we had with the Flex potentially underperforming. At least that's what it felt like it was doing. Everyone says how strong the Flex is, so we took it to a different piece of wood. I found some out on the very end. I ran it in speed 2 with turbo mode, and you'll have just seen that footage. So it did run, it went right through, and it actually felt faster. I made mention earlier how it seemed to be actually like slowing down a little bit when it was doing some of the driving or some of the early drilling stuff. This one, it almost seemed to speed up as we went through it. So some inconsistent results, not necessarily confidence inspiring because I don't know which one I'm going to get, but we are going to now put that time up on the screen and see how it fares with that time compared to the other one, because it felt pretty quick. So let's see what it can do. Obviously, there is still more yet to be seen with this drill. Is it going to be dependable, and is it going to give you the results every time? I don't know. It certainly didn't feel like it tonight, but that last hole was pretty impressive.